Okay. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us. If you would like to sponsor a class, please let us know. Sponsorships help us keep these classes going. Let's jump right in. This week we're going to be talking a little bit about Chai Elul, which I believe, if you check, by the way, our brand new Jewish calendar, probably received it today or maybe tomorrow. If you didn't, let us know. Send you a copy. Chai Elul is going to be on Monday, Sunday night, Monday. Okay, so Chai Elul, the 18th day of Elul, is a very special day. It is, first of all, the Chai. It is the 18. It is the life of the whole month. That means there are 12 days left till Rosh Hashanah, which means that there's a connection between the 12 days left to Rosh Hashanah is the idea that we're starting to repair. Every day is 1 month of the year. We're getting ready for a new year, so every day we have to focus on another year. And on this day is also the birthday of both the Baal Shem Tov, the founder of Chassidus, of the Chassidic movement, and the Alter Rebbe, the founder of the Chabad movement. So it's a very special, holy day, as we mentioned, and we're going to talk a little bit about a story that the Baal Shem Tov told about his birthday. So let's jump in. The Baal Shem Tov related a story that when he was on his birthday, on Chai Elul, in the year 1714, we would have, if my math is correct, the Baal Shem Tov would have been turning at that time 15 or 16, and the Baal Shem Tov at the time was in a small town, and he was staying in an inn, and the innkeeper was an older Jewish couple, very simple people, and despite their simplicity in those days, meaning their lack of a Jewish education, they probably barely knew how to pray. They didn't know the meaning of the words, but all day long, the husband was always saying, Baruch Hu Mavarech L'Olam Va'ed, blessed is God forever and ever. And his wife would always be saying, Yivarech Yesh Shmo HaKadosh, may God's name be blessed, may His holy name be blessed. And this is something they were always saying. So, the Baal Shem Tov, it's his birthday, he's in this little town, so it was obviously a very important day on a personal level for him. So he goes to the forest, where the Baal Shem Tov as a young man liked to spend a lot of time in nature. And he goes to the forest and he starts to meditate, and he's trying to concentrate on the different meanings of the words, of the verses that he's saying. And he's trying to concentrate on the names of God that emanate from these verses, and Kabbalistically how every single name and what it means and how it affects, and all these very, very holy important things. And he's concentrating, and he time goes by. He's not even aware of his surroundings, and he opens his eyes and he sees Elijah the prophet. The Baal Shem Tov sometimes have revelations, as some holy people did, of Elijah the prophet, and he sees Elijah, and he starts to discuss with Elijah why he's smiling. And Elijah says, you're working so hard to concentrate, to get the right energy from the right name of God, and how this name comes from this thing, and the unification of God's name, and all these holy things with the verses, how it fits with the verses of the Psalms, and what were King David's intentions when he wrote the Psalms, all these holy things. However, Shlomo the innkeeper and Zlata Rivka, his wife, they don't know any of these things. They don't know the holy names. They don't know which names are connected to which blessings. He doesn't know. They don't know any of that. But the unification of God's name that you're trying to accomplish is being accomplished from what they're doing, much more than what you're doing. And Elijah explained to the Baal Shem Tov, that Elijah explained to him that how much God enjoys the praise of men, women, and children and simple people, because those people are praising Him with sincerity, with purity. So the Baal Shem Tov took it upon himself to encourage simple Jews who did not have a Jewish education, who didn't have the opportunities that he had had, to constantly praise God. And so let's now go to the next story of the Baal Shem Tov. One time, the Baal Shem Tov came to a certain town, and he gathered all the Jewish people, he gathered the men, the women, and children, and he says to them, there's a verse in Tehillim, which actually is a verse that we say at a bris. We say it twice during the bris ceremony. And the verse in Tehillim says, Ashrei tilchar skari yishkoin chatzirecha nizbu b'tuv beisacha kadosh yechalecha, which translates as, praiseworthy is the one who you choose and bring near to dwell in your courtyards. May we be satisfied with the goodness of your house and the holiness of your sanctuary. So God chooses us to be close to Him. And so the Baal Shem Tov explained the verse as follows. There are different people, there are different types of Jews. There are some Jews who are on the level of what's called Chatziracha, your courtyards. And some are even on a higher level of the holiness of your sanctuary. Right? Sanctuary and courtyard is the outer room, and there's sanctuary is the inner room. So the Baal Shem Tov is saying that God brings every Jew close. And what about Jews who don't have even the level of a courtyard? So he says the word Ashrei, the first word in the verse, which means praiseworthy, praise be. Ashrei stands for Amen Yehei Shemei Rabbah. The Amen, may His great name be blessed. So, which is something that we say during the prayer services. But the point is that when Jews bless God and they thank God, that is what makes all the Jewish people equal. Yes, there's different levels amongst Jews. There's the courtyards. There's the sanctuary. There's in the verse it says Beisacha, right? The home. It talks about what you call it. All the goodness of your sanctuary, all these holy things. But what brings all the Jewish people together? The simplicity. And the Baal Shem Tov, through this teaching, was able to awaken within these Jewish people that he in this small village, that they had a passion for saying Amen Yeshmei Rabbah during the prayer services, for praising God during the prayers and praising God in general. So, and this is something that the Baal Shem Tov, one of the innovations of the Hasidic movement, was this idea of constantly uplifting the simple Jews, and not just saying like, oh, you're also good enough, but showing that actually what they had something special that scholars and pious Jews did not necessarily have, but the simple Jews, those were the ones who had this special passion and some sincerity that the others didn't necessarily have. So let's now dive into this topic a little further. So, with one more story. This story occurred on Shavuos in 1944. Shavuos 1944, the previous Rebbe was in New York, and he was at a holiday gathering, and he was teaching about Moses. And he asked a very simple question. He said that Moses was a great scholar, and Moses also knew the Torah before the Torah was given. We know that Abraham did the mitzvahs, right? We know that Abraham kept Passover. We know that Isaac studied Torah. We know that Jacob studied Torah. We know that the Jewish people founded, Yehuda founded, at Jacob's behest, founded a yeshiva in Egypt before the giving of the Torah, obviously before the Exodus. So, obviously Moses knew Torah, and he probably knew all the Torah. So what changed for Moses on Shavuos, on the giving of the Torah? Yes, for the regular Jewish people, this was a new idea to them. But for Moses, this great scholar, the giver of the Torah, what changed for him? Was he just like, this was a job opportunity? He signed up on LinkedIn, give the Torah, get 40 years in the desert. Like, what changed for Moses? What changed for Moses was that he through the giving of the Torah, Moses understood the simple Jew. That he saw that the giving of the Torah was not just for somebody like him. Until the giving of the Torah, Moses viewed the simple Jew in a different light. But all of a sudden, Moses realized that every single Jew was important. What changed? Simply, there had to be, every single Jew had to be present in order for the Torah to be given. There were 600,000 men between the ages of 20 and 60, generally 600,000 generals, which represented the 600,000 general souls of the Jewish people, and every single one had to be present at the giving of the Torah. If one of them had not been present, if one of them had been not available, the Torah would not have been given. And which this is, by the way, recorded in the Medrash by Rabbi Shimon ben Yehuda of Kfar Akko, said in the name of Rabbi Shmuel that if the Jewish people had been missing even a single person, they wouldn't have received the Torah. And again, the Medrash this is also brought by the Or HaChaim HaKadosh. He also brings this idea, and that even though it says in Pirkei Avos, it says in the Mishnah on the ethics of our fathers that two people who study Torah have the divine presence with them. It's not the same as with 600,000. When two people, Jews, study Torah, so they each bring the part of the divine presence that's connected to them. But to bring the entire divine presence, we need every single soul. So therefore, in order to have to receive the Torah, we needed to have every single Jew, and even in a simple level, even in current Jewish practice, if in order to pray certain parts of the prayer services, or for example to read the Torah, or to say the Kedusha service, we need to have 10 Jewish men. If there are 9 Jewish men, even if Moses was there, even if there were 9 Moseses, we cannot say these prayers. So we see that something changed by the giving of the Torah, that every single Jew was needed. And to take this even further, we can actually say that really there were this idea is not just that Moses saw how the specialness of even the simplest Jew, but actually Moses saw within himself this idea. Moses saw the simplicity within himself, and because the Torah was given, what was given to us? Mitzvahs, commandments that had to be done in physical things, in physical form, and to the point where even if one does not know the exact spiritual intention of doing the mitzvah, one should still perform the mitzvah. That was part of the teachings of the Torah. So and was given, and what was specifically commanded to us during the Matan Torah, during the giving of the Torah. So Moses all of a sudden sees what's the most important thing? It's the actions, which is something that even the simplest Jew could do, or even the simplest Jew maybe you could even excels at. So so Moses saw within himself how this quality of simplicity was the most important thing. So what do we see from here is that sometimes we could view ourselves and we'll be like, wow, I need to really focus on my own spirituality. I need to focus on my own self. I have to focus on my own financial situation. I can't be bothered with other people. What Moses was teaching us, what we see is the most important thing, and something that Baal Shem Tov taught is the most important thing is the concrete thing, the thing that the simplest people actually excel at. And we'll finish off the story that we started about this Shavuos gathering in 1944. Um, this Shavuos gathering in 1944, after this teaching, the previous Rebbe asked three people he gave them a specific mission. And he gave them a mission that they each should, for these three people, that they should encourage students of other yeshivas to be involved, to be involved in the study of Hasidic teachings. Number two is they should make sure their actions fit with the Torah, and they should all have groups of people that they study with. In other words, they shouldn't just study alone. So there were he gave these three students, these three Hasidim, this job. And so the Rebbe, when he was actually at this, he told over the story, and he said he was at that gathering, and 10 years later he spoke about this story that the previous Rebbe taught this teaching, and how he saw that he gave over this job to different people, and the Rebbe said these three people were three different types of people. One was a great Torah scholar. One was a average Torah scholar, and one was a simple person. And the Rebbe said that he saw what happened. Okay, so the previous Rebbe told them, he called them over and he said, please do this job. I want you to encourage other yeshiva students. And the two Torah scholars who were there, they never really got involved in this mission. They went back to their job. They were involved in not bad things. They were involved in their business. They were involved in their own spiritual pursuits. But the third one, this simple person who was not as gifted, didn't have the opportunities that the other ones had. He got involved in this, and he applied himself. And to this day, he continues. The Rabbi said 10 years later, he's continuing to do this and this mission. So the Rebbe said he actually saw this in practice, that this simple Jew who did not have the gifts of the other ones was the one specifically who actually went into action, actually did what was asked of him, and actually encouraged other people and got involved in the community. And even though it came at tremendous cost, right? Being a community activist is not for everybody. It's a difficult thing. It's not easy. There's nobody was writing checks for this person, but the previous Rabbi gave him a mission. He understood this, what God wanted from him, and he got involved in it. So we see here the teaching of Baal Shem Tov come to life, and each one of us have to take this to heart. We have to be involved in helping people and not just focus on ourselves. Thank you very much for joining. Have a great Shabbos, and we'll see you next week.